Hey frogs and toads, where do ideas come from? And better yet, how do you get a good one? Hey frogs and toads, where do ideas come from? And better yet, how do you come up with a good one? Do you know? In this video, we're going to attempt some experiments based on the techniques of one of history's most prolific artists, Salvador Dali, a guy who consistently begged the question, how the heck did he even think of that? We're gonna dive deep into his creative process, we're gonna test out his dream techniques, and we're gonna test out some of his most insane thinking methods for turning crazy ideas into actual art. These are things that you could try for yourself at home, so let's
get creative!
Before we get cracking, let's learn a little bit about the artist that inspired today's video. Dali was a surrealist painter, which basically means that instead of his paintings being based in reality, they were often these elaborate, dreamlike sequences. His paintings were basically drugs, is the best way that I could describe it. And let's not forget, he also had a really crazy mustache. Just wild stuff. Like a top 5 mustache all time if I had to rank him. Now's a good time to mention that he wasn't the most beloved guy. He was definitely a weirdo, probably an asshole. He was essentially kicked out of the surrealist movement for being too weird, which I think loosely translates to code for too Nazi, but tomato, tomato. He would do absurd things like show up to a lecture with a scuba helmet on in a car full to the brim with cauliflower. You know, just a guy being a dude. When it came to ideas, Dali didn't wait for inspiration. He hunted it down viciously by training himself to essentially hallucinate on command. He could dream while awake. He used a technique called the paranoid critical method, which we're gonna try out, but first, let's get started with a bit of a Dali-esque warm-up. So here's a little automatic writing and drawing exercise. Dali would write or draw for 5 to 10 minutes without ever picking up his pen. No thinking, no correcting, just letting his brain spill out onto the page. Here's how you could try this at home. Set a timer for 5 minutes and do some automatic drawing. Whatever comes out, embrace the chaos. This is how we're gonna tap into our unconscious brain. Dali saw the world a little different. He would simulate self-induced paranoid states and then meticulously create the images that he hallucinated. This gave his artworks a startling yet authentic feel to them, filled with subtle interpretations and associations, much like dreams. In order to warp reality, here's a technique that Dali used to use. He would stare at a random object until it transformed in his mind into something else. For example, if you stare at a rock, after a while you might start to see a face in it. Or if you're outside staring up at the clouds, they might slowly morph into your parents fighting. Once the image became clear, he would immediately jot down the idea before his logic could erase it. So here's how to try this technique for yourself. Grab a random object and stare at it for 2 minutes without blinking. Describe out loud how it morphs into something else. Then sketch it without judgment. Just get it out of your brain onto a paper. Now it's really starting to look like a monument. Or it's like a building in Dubai. There's also a bit of like golden machine gun aura. Or like a long pistol. Yeah, with a real long, what do you call it? Like the shaft of the pistol? I didn't like saying that. It's also giving golden vacuum. Golden vacuum. Alexa, turn off timer. Okay, so it's not great, but here is my golden vacuum that I saw. Now we're gonna take it one step further and try Dali's dream technique to unlock the subconscious. Here's how he did it. Dali would sit in a chair with a key in his hand held over a metal plate. As he drifted into sleep, the key would fall, make a loud noise, and wake him up mid-dream. He would immediately sketch what he saw before his rational mind could wake up. You can try this at home. And this isn't just for painting. You could use this for all sorts of ideas. I have my plate. I'm gonna use a palette knife because I think that'll make enough of a noise to wake me. Luckily, I'm tired. Luckily, I didn't sleep much, so this shouldn't be too big of a challenge to fall asleep. Try to achieve the deepest muscle relaxation that you can. I know it can be difficult because you're watching a YouTube video and I'm filming one, but try your hardest to let go. Quiet your mind. Don't think about what went on during the day or any of your challenges or problems. Just clear your mind of all chatter. Quiet your eyes. You can't look for these images. You need to be passive. You need to achieve total absence of any kind of voluntary attention. Become helpless. Become directionless. You are entering the hypnagogic state. Okay, so I saw what looked to be, it was giving like a Wheaties box of cereal with a bowl right next to it. It was like the ending of a cereal commercial kind of look, except the cereal box had like a bluish purple mountain range on it, kind of like a 1990s Utah Jazz jersey look to it. I don't know exactly what it means, but it was somewhere between a 1990s Utah Jazz, a late 90s away Utah Jazz jersey, and a Wheaties box of cereal. I don't know what it means yet, but this is not, without judgment, what I saw. So make sure as soon as the experience is over to write down the image that came to you because it can escape you quickly. It might be helpful to ask yourself the following questions. Number one, what do these images remind me of? For me, like I said, it's a late 90s Jazz jersey and a box of Wheaties cereal. Number two, what about this puzzles me? What kind of questions do I have? Number three, is there anything that's out of place or awkward? And number four, are there any associations or analogies that you can create? Is there anything within your image? Are there any links that you can identify? Once you've received your information, there's only one thing left to do: get to work. Being able to step outside of your head and dream undeniably helps with creative inspiration. Just don't let yourself fall into a deep sleep, because then you're no longer getting ideas and you're kind of just taking a nap. Which, granted, not the worst idea either. Like I said, you could try this for yourselves at home. I'd love to see what kind of craziness you come up with. Feel free to tag me or send it to me or whatever you want. I'd love to see what your dreams look like. Don't forget to subscribe. We got new videos coming out each week. That's all. Make art, have fun, feel good. Goodbye.